Hey guys, over here I got my brand new Scream 1 in the box, so I'm going to do a little bit of an unboxing video. And to the sides of it, I've got the Tournament Pro Finalmouse and the Finalmouse Classic Ergo 2015. So first things first is to open up the box. This is what the box looks like on the Scream 1, and we can see that it's got pretty much the exact same design as the Tournament Pro right out of the box. So the mouse is finally out of the packaging. Just get a nice feel of that. This is not how I hold my mouse actually. I actually do this with my mouse. I know it's weird. I use my middle finger to scroll. Actually right there, this scroll wheel feels really crisp. Very, very crisp. Like good response, like it handles well. I don't think you'll get like any accidental rolls with it. It's very precise, responds very well. I don't know if it's just that this one is a little bit more worn or if there's a change to it, but it definitely feels a lot stiffer and a lot more responsive. Not much has changed in terms of the actual feel of the mouse, in terms of the material that's used. The grip's the same, everything's the same. Mouse feet looks like it's the same as well. So, I mean, everything there pretty much looks the same. So we won't know anything until we plug it in and give it a whirl, try it out a little bit. But there it is, the Scream 1 coming out of the box. It's got its nice braided cord, so it's going to be a little bit more durable than other mice out there. Packaging, I mean, once it's out of the box, packaging is nothing special, just the box, plastic. So all the goodness is straight in the mouse itself and the professional's choice. You get this. Finalmouse has been designed to be completely driverless. You can simply plug and play in any PC, gaming, or esport environment. Pressing the button underneath the mouse wheel will cycle the DPI between intervals of 400, 800, 1600, 3200 DPI. For any support you may require, please contact our support department. Blah, 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 blah. So there's that. There's some stickers here. The professional's choice got some stickers. I'm going to use these on, I don't know, probably nothing to be honest. But there it is. It's out of the box. And the next thing I have to do is try it in game, because I hear that it's got an upgraded sensor. It's got the 3360 upgraded from the 3310 that's used in this mouse, and it's supposed to be really, really good. So I'm gonna give that a shot. Anyways, see you on the comp. Hey guys, so it's been actually quite a while since I did the unboxing video, and I've been using the Scream 1 this whole time. This is actually the second edition of the mouse. It is not the first edition of the mouse that you saw me unboxing in the video. And I actually put off doing the review for quite some time because there were a few issues with the mouse. Some of the issues would be, for example, the slam click. Double left click. So sometimes when you would click just once, it would actually double click. It would register as a double click. And ghosting. So I use the side buttons here as my push to talk key, and I couldn't press and hold that and then like left click at the same time. It would disengage, so I couldn't talk in game or to whoever I need to communicate with if I'm also trying to shoot at the same time. So that was a pretty big issue, and those issues were kind of like putting me off. And then those issues have been addressed in the second edition of the mouse, which is what this is. And then there's also a firmware update, which is supposed to address those issues and more. For example, sometimes if you're scrolling down, it would actually register as a scroll up. So that's supposed to be addressed with the latest firmware update. So if you don't have the firmware update, I would go and check that out now. Onto the technical specifications of the mouse. It's using the PMW 3360 by PixArt, as I mentioned earlier, as PixArt's highest-end optical navigation gaming sensor. It boasts the highest capabilities of any navigation sensor, making it the best choice for esports tracking. So it has a max frame rate of 12,000 FPS, 12,000 resolution, speed of 250 FPS, resolution error of less than 1%, and a very low default liftoff distance. I don't know what very low default LOD means. I don't know how to show you either, but right now my mouse is, I'm hovering it really close to my mouse pad, and it's not registering right now at all. So I don't know. The sensor was tuned to provide optimal esports performance. So the angle snapping registers are off to ensure there's no prediction. Rest modes are disabled to ensure no occurrence of input lag from idle. The sensor's firmware is developed in-house by Finalmouse, and the click latency is less than 1 millisecond. The USB report rate or polling rate is 1 ms or 1000 hertz. So what does this mean? Angle snapping, to ensure there's no prediction. When you're moving your mouse around, what it means is everything that you do with your mouse, every movement you make, it's completely one-to-one. So if I move my mouse a little bit, the cursor on my screen is going to move exactly how I move the mouse. It's not going to predict or assume what I want it to do. It's not going to snap to angles. It's not going to think I'm trying to do it in a specific line. For example, if I'm trying to hold a straight line, if I'm not doing a straight line, it's not going to do a straight line, which is fairly important if I'm trying to be really precise with a lot of my aiming that I'm doing in Counter-Strike, for example. Rest modes are disabled to ensure no occurrence of input lag from idle, which is very important. If I'm sitting there holding an angle and then I want to swipe, I want to make sure that I'm not getting any input lag. Input lag, whenever you're playing a first-person shooter in specific, is like one of the worst things you can have. You want to make sure that you have low latency, low input lag, and low latency with the clicks as well. And the Finalmouse has basically all of that combined. So when I click, I know that there's less than 1 millisecond from the time I actually do the click to it registering the click on my computer. I know with 1000 hertz, there's less than 1 millisecond latency that it takes when I move my mouse for it to update on the computer that I've actually moved the mouse through the USB polling rate. So these are important things. In terms of the weight of the mouse, the weight is 79 grams, which is by far the lightest mouse I've ever used. I used to use the ZA11, which weighed 90 grams. The FK1 was also 90 grams. And my old SteelSeries Sensei was about 100 grams. I just had to look that up now. So it's about 10 to 20 grams lighter than the mouse I used to use, which is really lightweight. What that means is if you start using this and you're used to a heavier mouse, you might want to lower your sensitivity a little bit, because it will be very easy to move your mouse across your mouse pad, and it's just going to be like, whoa, it feels a lot quicker, and it's because the mouse is a lot lighter. So the Finalmouse Scream 1 2nd edition, updated firmware. It is one of my favorite mice. I don't think it's my most favorite mouse, but it definitely ranks up there, and I am going to continue to use it. I like its lightweight design. I like the low latency. I like the implementation of the PixArt 3360, and I like how it's using the 3360, which is the best sensor out there at the moment. So all those things considered, I will stick to it. The only other mouse that I would actually consider going back to the Finalmouse 2015. Unfortunately, I can't do that right now because I smashed it a couple months back and made a hole in my desk with it. So it's currently out of operation. I'd love to get my hands on one again, though. Until then, this is my baby to go to. Lightweight, versatile. If I were to give it a rating out of 10, I think there is still room for improvement. So I guess Finalmouse isn't the last mouse you'll ever need. Scrolling can be a little weird. It does feel a little flimsy because it is lightweight. And there were issues before with the ghosting, with other things that the firmware had to address, and I feel like even though that the firmware has addressed some of the issues, I feel like I sometimes still get an issue with scrolling down. For example, if I'm playing CS and I'm bunny hopping, I have mouse wheel up to pull out a flashbang. Sometimes it pulls out a flashbang, which isn't the most ideal, but it's fairly manageable for the most part. So I wouldn't give it a perfect score, but I would definitely give it probably a 9 out of 10. The sensor is really good. The low latency and the low click latency is really super important for any FPS gamer out there, and I highly recommend this mouse for sure.